One Piece chapter 1091 has recently dropped, and with it, Oda has given us the very first clash between a Yonko and an admiral ever since Marineford over a decade ago. Luffy vs Kizaru is about to happen, and in this video, I want to go over why this fight is so crucial and important to the story, and how after it's said and done, it will have changed both the One Piece community and One Piece as a whole forever. If you have been involved with the One Piece community in any sort of way, you know that one of the biggest and most heated debates in the entire fandom is between the admirals and the Yonko.
You bloody bastard,
These two groups are the two peaks of the verse, the strongest marines and the strongest pirates. But the problem is, with the way Oda likes writing his story, even after 1000 chapters, we haven't really been given a clear and direct answer as to who's the strongest between the two factions. The first reason for this is because it is extremely rare for a Yonko and an admiral to actually engage in combat. The Navy has basically no incentive to send out admirals after Yonko, since it means they leave themselves vulnerable to an attack from either other Yonko or the revolutionaries. And because of this, for like 99% of the story, the admirals stay in their Navy headquarters and the Yonko stick to their territories. However, the second reason as to why we are 100% on who's stronger is because the one time we did actually see an encounter between the two, there was some very convoluted restrictions on both sides. I'm obviously referring to Marineford here, but we saw multiple clashes between Whitebeard and all three admirals. The main problem though was that for one, Whitebeard was a sick and old man at the time, making it very hard to compare him to the other Yonko. And two, all three admirals are stated multiple times to have to hold back, so that they wouldn't destroy Marineford. I do think overall, the three admirals had more impressive showings than Whitebeard's, especially Kizaru and Akainu, with them almost killing Whitebeard at times. But the main issue is that Whitebeard was already likely on the lower end of the Yonko coming into the war, and as the war progressed, he only got weaker. So to sum it up, Marineford is just extremely hard to use as a basis when scaling the top tiers. Whitebeard was weakened and the admirals had to hold back. So for over 10 years, the only thing we had on the debate between the two came from a very contentious war arc, with overall just clunky scaling. But with chapter 1091, we are finally about to see a fight between the serious admiral and a prime Yonko. While Kizaru isn't allowed to destroy all of Egghead, his abilities don't really seem to have insane AoE potential, so he should be able to go near full power without restrictions. And as for Luffy, he's coming out of just having beaten Kaido, which should put him around the high tier even among the other Yonko. The good thing about this fight is that even if we don't get a conclusion, we will definitely get a grasp on how the two factions compare to each other. As of right now, there are so many different takes and opinions relating to how strong these guys are. Like, some people think the OG admirals are above characters like Roger and Whitebeard, while others think the admirals are barely above Yonko commanders. It's actually insane how diverse the community is in this topic. So no matter what happens, we're at least getting some answers. Most of the fandom has the Yonko comfortably above the admirals, and the take I've seen the most is that it normally takes two admirals to take down the Yonko. But if Kizaru presses Gear 5 Luffy, then these opinions are very subject to change. While I do understand that not every admiral is as strong as each other, there is definitely some sort of relativity. I feel it's implied that Kizaru is above Fujitora and Greenbow because of him being one of the OG admirals, but he isn't as strong as Akainu and Aokiji, since they do have slightly better portrayal, with Aokiji being stated as the strongest man in the Navy and Akainu beating him. So this places Kizaru around the middle when compared to the other admirals. As for Luffy, he's definitely in a similar situation. I think it's fair to say he's stronger than Big Mom and Old Whitebeard, but compared to Kaido and Shanks, it gets really debatable, so I'm not going to get into that. What I think we can all agree on though is that both Kizaru and Luffy are great representatives for their factions. They aren't the strongest and they also aren't the weakest. So Oda has basically perfectly set the stage for us to use the fight between these two as the basis for Yonko and admirals. I personally do have Yonko slightly over admirals, but when I say slightly, I really mean it. Like, any Yonko versus admiral matchup is at the very least a high diff in my opinion. I feel the OG admirals versus the OG Yonko, so pre-time skip, can go either way. But the fact that so much of the One Piece community has a massive gap between the two is insane to me. This can especially be seen on the Yonko side, with a lot of people having characters like Kaido and Shanks significantly above Akainu and Aokiji. I do kind of blame this on Oda for having almost every admiral showing have the admiral nerfed, but that just makes this current fight between Luffy and Kizaru even more important. If Kizaru gets completely destroyed, then we will know the admirals are frauds, but if he gets portrayed as an equal to Luffy, that'll just upscale the other guys that should be near him, like Fujitora and Greenbow, and also make Akainu and Aokiji stocks go completely through the roof. No more Kizaru versus Katakuri as a high diff takes anymore.
Ultimately speaking, yeah, I would say I am confident when I say Katakuri wins that fight against Kizaru. Hey yo, what the fuck?
No, after this fight, we will know for sure where the Navy's most powerful soldiers truly stand. And look, if Kizaru does turn out to be a fraud, then feel free to call me out. At the end of the day, One Piece and Oda's writing style as a whole comes out to the reader's interpretation. And so if I've interpreted the story wrong, then that's all on me. But as of now, I do truly believe Kizaru is about to balance things out and make many people really have to give a second thought to the Yonko vs Admirals debate. In conclusion, no matter who wins between Luffy and Kizaru, this fight will finally give us something to measure how the top tiers of the Navy and pirates really stack up against each other. And we might also finally get a conclusion to one of the biggest debates in One Piece. If you've enjoyed the video, please make sure you like and subscribe as it really helps the channel grow. Also comment down below who you think will win the fight, or any possibilities regarding how it's gonna go. Other than that though, I'll see you guys next time.